Hey fellas, your commissioner here, coming at you for a little week nine of NFL action. As you can tell from my recent Gerby message, I got about almost done with the recap of last week's games, and I saw a little flashing light on my microphone and realized that hey, the mic's been muted this whole time, 19 minutes into the video. So we're gonna recreate it. We're going to learn from it, and hey, it's fine. It's fun. It's just part of the process, right? Part of fun. Part of fun of doing this. So it's working. See, so it's red now. If I do this, now you can. I probably shouldn't have even played with that. Okay, there's the sound. So we're good. Okay, so start off as we always do. Again here with the Hogs win 41-27. We got, oh gosh, we got old Harsin up out of there. So that was fun. It's fun to see put the nail in the coffin. You always like to see that. Auburn tried to snipe Yurachek from us. Why would he ever leave? We have probably top to bottom one of the best athletic programs in all of the NCAA, and one of the best places to live in all of the nation. And you think you're going to throw that away to make a little bit more money at Auburn? Don't think so. So that was good. A little sloppy coming out of the bye week, definitely. Too many penalties, too many fumbles. Would like to see that get cleaned up. It's been one of the sloppiest teams, not physical at times, teams I've seen in a long time. I don't think that's indicative of the culture that Sam is, building for us. But the defense looked much improved. I was really pleased by what I saw from them. But, hey, a win's a win. Really 41-27. We really whomped them. I mean, they got that score late, so it was really kind of 41-20. Whomped him. Harsin gone, fired. Like I said, you never want to talk about another man's job, but it's certainly cool to be the team to say, wow, you lost to these guys that bad at home. See ya, you're out. So, all right, let's go ahead here, get into a recap of last week's games. Start off with the Burt's Bees game of the week, the highest scoring game of the week. This is one of the highest scoring weeks we've ever had. I think we've had all season. 4, 5, 6 guys who had 3 touchdown games. Just dominant performance, especially after the last couple weeks where you really didn't have. It's some of the lowest scoring weeks I've seen in all my years of playing fantasy. Shade does get the win, 162-132. That'll teach Craig to try to put up more than 100 points because it doesn't work out for him now very well, does it? So, really. This is Craig's high watermark on the season. I mean, Brady, terrible game, somehow still gets 20 points. Got that score late. Ramondre's been great. Gibson has been just phenomenal. I mean, he's written off for dead. Brian Robinson's going to come in, steal his job, get all the work. Antonio Gibson's going to go back to returning kicks, and that's it. And it's been anything but the last couple weeks. I mean, he's a supreme talent. Not a lot of rushing yards, 19, but just a really nice PPR back, that's for sure. And CD Tutty, T Higgins Tutty, Jacoby Tutty. Really Renfro is the only one who kind of let him down. But you look at the flip side of the coin here with D Shade. I mean, he puts up 162 without having Travis Kelce in his lineup. 3 touchdowns from Dak, 3 touchdowns from Tony Pollard. Gesicki had a tutty. Cooper had a tutty. Metcalf had a tutty. Fournette had, you get a touchdown, everyone gets a touchdown. I'm Oprah Winfrey, right? And, the only 2 who didn't have tutties were Mooney and Jones, and they put up 12 and 19.7 points respectively. So, really strong showing from D Shade. I think he needs to try to flip, Carter, Pollard, Fournette, or Jones, one of those guys for a little bit more solid of a wide receiver 3. And his team could make some noise now. I mean, I think that this looks like a playoff team. I mean, he's 4-4, Craig's 5-3. But if he's able to make a move here as we approach the deadline, to flip one of those running backs, I think things might be looking up for him. So maybe, I don't know, him and Nick can try to make a deal. One's got wide receivers, one's got running backs. One doesn't have wide receivers, one doesn't have running backs. So, all right, next here we got the cataclysmic catches and curse to the 101. Positive vibes, worked. Good news, bad news. I broke 100 points for the first time in 3 weeks, which was not looking likely because I was sitting on like 80-something going into the afternoon games with only McCaffrey left to play. And he drops 40.6 points. But the bad news is that Wilson's good. Wilson's actually good this year. I'm thinking I hit the lottery. I lucked out that Wilson's not going to have Mahomes. He's not going to have Mike Williams, both on bye. Mike Williams is injured, of course. And, what's Tua do but put up 36 points? His second best game of the year after dropping, 6 tutties on Baltimore back in week 2. So, and there was still hope. I knew this would happen. This is the third time. It's the third time. It's the third time that it's happened this season. It's happened 5 times out of 8 where I've had to go against somebody on Monday night. And 3 times it's gotten me. 2 times it's almost gotten me. Where I'm up 15 points. McCaffrey, Herculean effort, shouldn't have even been in the game. I should have been dead. I should have barely cracked 100 points. Wilson probably would have only needed, 2 or 3 points if McCaffrey has a normal game. But McCaffrey has to go and tease me and put up 40.6 points, get me to 116, and 15 points is reasonable. After the first quarter, Chubb didn't do anything. It looked like the Bengals, it was a defensive slugfest. Great, that's what I needed. And then the Bengals just fell apart. They just fell apart. And Chubb had 2 tutties, 100 yards on the ground. And it's going to be tough to beat, man. I mean, Miles Sanders had a tutty. Ertz had a tutty. Mike Evans had a great game on Thursday night. And, you look at the wide receivers. I mean, I used to make my money off the wide receivers. And just the last few years, I've just not been able to find the right combination of guys to get any sort of consistent or high-end production from the wide receiver. I can spend high picks on them. I can spend medium picks on them. I can spend a lot of picks on them. I can spend a little picks on them. I can keep them. I can not keep them. It doesn't matter. And that's really the backbone of what you need to be successful in this league, which we'll get into here shortly with another team. But, 11.3 points out of Sutton and Kirk is just not going to cut it. It's just not going to cut it. So, and then, now Swift, he practiced in full all week and last week and then barely played. And now Campbell's saying that he's not healthy and he didn't practice this week. And I just don't know what's going to happen with Swift. He's probably going to get shut down. Cooks is, he doesn't want to be there anymore. He's trying to pull an Odell from last year. So 2 years in a row that happens to my team, a player on my team, where he's going to get cut and be worthless for a couple weeks. And so, which I'm not in a position to weather that storm. So I don't know. Anyways, I'm 3-5, 4-game losing streak. So like I said, I looked into this a little bit with the losing streaks. I couldn't really wrap my head around how best to determine the percentages, because you could have a team that goes on a 3-game losing streak, wins 4 in a row, and then loses 3 in a row, or vice versa. And let's say vice versa. They win 3, lose 4, win 3. They still end up making the playoffs. How do you count? Because there was multiple winning streaks in that season, but it's only one team, so they only made the playoffs once. But do you just go ahead and count it again? And so I don't really know. I thought about maybe doing it on a team by team basis, to say like, hey, Blaine has gone on a 4-game losing streak X amount of times throughout his X amount of seasons, and he's made the playoffs in X amount of seasons. But it's not a great one-to-one relationship like some of these other ones are. Again, maybe I'm overcomplicating it. Some of you math guys can help me out. But I do say, I will say, skimming through the data, there's been a couple owners, Blaine and Plunk specifically, that come to mind who have gone on 4-game losing streaks, 5-game losing streaks, and still made the playoffs. They still made the playoffs. So it's possible. It also coincides with going on a long winning streak. I mean, if you go both of those guys, they did have 4-game, 5-game losing streaks, but they also had 4 or 5-game winning streaks. So things got to turn around quite quickly. Otherwise, it's not looking good. So next here we got if you lose to me, you really suck, and the Swamp Donkeys. 169.8 to 118.95. Solid game from Savoy. Marcus Mariota had a terrible game last week. Bounces back, 28 points this week. Jamal Williams, I mean, he's basically last year's James. What James Conner was last year, that's what Jamal Williams has been this year. I mean, he's had like 2 touchdown games, I think, so far this season. Yes, 4. I mean, he's 16 points, 25 points, 24 points, 22 points, and he's had a couple stinkers in there too, 7, 5, and 6. But I mean, it's just phenomenal. I mean, and I just kick myself every freaking week that I let myself acquire J.K. Dobbins instead of Jamal Williams. So it sucks, but it is what it is. It's nothing I can do at this point. But I mean, Blaine, his team's just phenomenal. I mean, ETN is stepped up. He is the guy. He looks like an elite prospect that everyone thought he was going to be coming out of college. Josh Allen, 4 game, not a great game, still 22 points. Dante Foreman had 3 tutties. St. Brown's only showing town now, 14 points. Hopkins has been incredible the last couple weeks. Kyle Pitts finally got a touchdown. Barkley didn't have a good game, still got 15 points. So, he puts up 170 almost without Keenan Allen, without Austin Eckler, and without his true alpha wide receiver 1, Kadarius Toney. So, I mean, the sky's the limit for Blaine. I mean, honestly, he's 5-3, but in my mind, he is the team to beat. He is the best team as it stands right now, as rosters are currently constructed. I don't think that a team can go against his running backs and wide receiver combo. Keenan's still banged up, probably not going to play again this week, but you got to think he's eventually going to get healthy come playoff time, and I don't think Blaine's going to have any issues getting to the playoffs with his roster as it is. So Blaine's 5-3, Savoy's 2-6, pretty much dead in the water. So next here we got the Dirty Birds versus the Fat Bastards. Plunk, good bounce back week for him, 134 to 99.2. Hey, new COD drop. Kyler still got 30 points, pretty good. I keep checking the mic. I'm so paranoid about this thing. I really thought that I was gonna have to miss maybe 5 minutes of the video, and I would just splice them together and it'd be fine. I did not think that it was all 20 minutes of the freaking video that I had shot so far, but hey, it's part of it, right? It's just like the awards show. I did the awards show and there was no sound, so that's why you had to tune in live to be able to see it. So, but Ford had 3 players combined for 3.2 points. Got nothing out of Pickens. That's not going to happen again, especially now. It's only just him and Deontay there. But Terry's coming on. Diggs is good. Devontae's going to bounce back. I mean, that's an anomaly. The Raiders just got whipped up and down the field. I don't think that's going to happen again. They suck. They're going to lose a lot of games, but they're going to get production out of Devontae. Brian Robinson, though, it's looking a little shaky. That's his running back room I'd be a little bit concerned by if I was him. I mean, I'd probably try to be making a smallish move to try to flip one of those 4 wide receivers for another running back. But, I think Ford's okay. I think he's still got enough talent there to hold on to his playoff spot. And, you look at Plunk. I mean, Kamara, finally, the touchdown dam broke. He gets 3 tutties, 43 points. Algier had a good game. Robinson was solid. I mean, he puts up 134 with 0 from Bateman. Now he looks like he's going to be down for a little bit, so he's hurting at the wide receiver room. But DJ Moore's resurgence is upon us. Mark Andrews is a little dinged up. He might miss some time as well, but you know, it's tough. I mean, Plunk has some really good talent on his team. I have a tough time buying. I don't think that he's going to just go on a long winning streak here and lock up a playoff spot. I think it's going to come down to some of the final weeks, and he's team. I mean, every win matters. He's 4-4. He's certainly in a good spot, but he needs to continue to rack up wins. And with some of those injuries, I think it's going to be tough sledding coming down the home stretch here. So. And next here, we got Razorback Revival versus Cooter Gain. Good, Nick was a dog shit team of the week last week. He's the fourth highest scoring team this week. Puts up 141. Only getting 3 points from his quarterback. I mean, that's hard to do. That is hard to do. Usually, if your quarterback scores below 20 points, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have a bad time in this league. But, Dalvin Cook had a great game. A.J. Brown, 3 tutties. Jalen Waddle, 2 tutties. Godwin, good game. Floor game from him, 13 points. Goddard continues to just be a super consistent. He's only tight end 6, but, I mean, you look at his numbers, 13, 11, 12, 17, 12. Like, he's got a 9 and a 4 thrown in there, but I mean, shoot, man, if you can get double digits every week from your tight end and you have some of that other elite talent at other position groups, like, you're going to be A-okay. So it's really just the quarterback position that has perplexed him. I mean, Nick's had an even tougher time at quarterback this season than I have. But, if he can figure that out, I think he's going to be A-okay. That second running back is very questionable as well. Again, like we talked about, I mean, he really needs to make a move, I think, with D. Shade, flip one of these wide receivers. He's got Garrett Wilson and Rondale Moore, 2 startable wide receivers for a lot of teams in this league, on his bench that he could try to flip for a Michael Carter or a Fournette if he wants to give up one of his bigger pieces, like a Pittman for Godwin maybe, who says no. And I think that would really help cement his status of trying to go on a long win streak and get back in contention. And you look at JD, 91. I mean, JT is hurt now. He got that ankle. Well, he's been hurt, but the ankle flared up again. You got to think if the Colts keep losing, is he potentially just going to get shut down? Joe Burrow came back down to reality, underwhelming. Mostert's up and down. Lockett had a good game. Kittle's been good the last few weeks. But, I don't know. He really needs Hollywood back. He needs Juju to keep producing what he was producing. He's got the pieces. He's 2-6. He's probably done. But it's still a team that can go out there and beat you any given week. Same with Savoy. I mean, Savoy, he was doing this all the beginning of the year, putting up between 110 and 120 every single week, and if you just do that enough, you're going to luck into some wins because there's plenty of teams. There's at least 2 or 3 teams every week that scoring below 100 points. Despite this offensive explosion this week, we still had 3 teams score below 100 points. So, and that brings us to our dog shit. Throw up all over themselves. Stumble down the street, shirtless in a bar. Team of the week, the Kickers' Lives Matter, 89 points. Great week from Duncan last week, came crashing back down to reality, tried to get cute playing the, playing the quarterback roulette. I get it. You don't want to start Rodgers against a very tough Buffalo defense. Rodgers has been underwhelming. Seattle's been bad, but if you've been paying attention, Seattle's really not been that bad against quarterbacks. Their defense is vastly improving week over week, just like the Titans secondary. As a secondary you could take advantage of early in the season, not so much anymore. Less than 10 points from him. Mixon did nothing except catch a bunch of dump-offs. Judy looks great. He's looked great. He's the only wide receiver that's been consistent for the Denver this season. Jefferson and Boyd have been good as well. But not a lot of work from Eno. It's just, I don't know. Josh Jacobs finally had a bust game. I don't know how to gauge Duncan's team. I mean, it's certainly potential. It has a lot of potential, but it has a lot of chances just to do this too. And you look at Rip. I mean, 167 from Rip without Debo nursing that hammy injury, without Breece Hall. Dubs had 16 points. Tunyon, okay, no Waller again. Devontae Smith, not great, but, Kupp was good. Tyreek's just, he's been a freak, man. He's been a freak. He's number one now on the season. Just week after week, just monster games. Singletary, good game. Derrick Henry always does what he does against the Texans, dominates. Jalen Hurts, dominant, 35 points, bounce back game from him. 167. So, but really, I think as the rosters are currently constructed, as of right now, no trades have happened. There might be discussions, but I really still gotta ride with Blaine. I think is the best team in the league. But who knows? Things change quickly in this league. You never know. So maybe if we can get, CMC is very much on the block, and I think there's only maybe 3 teams that can make a legit offer for him, and Rip is one of those teams. Rip's one of those teams. I think Nick is one of those teams, and I think that that Ford is one of those teams. Unfortunately for Nick, he's in a position where he has to win now, just like me. With these 3 and 5 teams, we got to win right now. We can't afford to be having players on bye. We're not 6-2. We're not 5-3 like some of these other owners. That if they lose, which it's even not a guarantee that they would lose because they have more complete rosters. Whenever you're fortunate enough to be in those positions, you try to stockpile as much elite talent as you can in order to try to make a run at the end. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, you guys know my thoughts on trading with Rip. I'm going to be perfectly blunt with them, even though I'm in where discussions are going okay, better than they were earlier in the season. But we'll see. We'll see. So, like I told you, Rip, go watch Soto from 3 or 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and it's teams that are willing to make those big moves like Blaine, giving up Dameon Pierce, giving up, well, I'm not going to bring up that trade because a lot of people thought that wasn't a very good, that was a snake oil trade. But, hey, it is what it is. So, the fact of the matter is CMC doesn't help me this week, so I don't care about CMC. So, all right. So it was requested that I spend a little bit more time on the waiver wire acquisitions. Been kind of rushing through them the last few weeks. A lot of money thrown around, a lot of players. Maybe this is probably one of the most active waiver wires in a few weeks. Start off, I got Kenyon Drake, basically as Gus Edwards insurance. Because I don't know if Cordero's going to be back this week. And Gus has a hammy. It's Monday night, so if he doesn't play, I got to have somebody because I'm going to have to play one of them. I might have to play both of them, because it doesn't look like Brandon Cooks wants to play football anymore, just like Odell last year. So I can't remember if I said that in this video or the video that I didn't have any audio, but I think it was this video. Whatever, but Cooks, yeah, he's probably not going to play for a couple weeks. He's doing the Eli Moore, Odell Beckham. So, Hilliard got picked up 15 fab. Great. He's been good, even despite Derrick Henry being good. But if Henry were to go down, I think Hilliard can be a league winner. Rip picks up Huntley for 17. We'll see. Damian Williams and Cordero should be coming back within the next week or 2. So, I don't know that Boxman is going to be worth that much, but it's probably a 1-week pickup, potential precursor to a move he might make to fill in for some potential buys that could be incoming to his team. Maybe. Tyquan Thornton, whatever. Bomb. Rex Burkhead, bomb. Jaylen Warren, like that. A good speculative ad as well by Ford. Ronnie Rivers, maybe. He's a starter. Yeah, decent game. Really like this. One of the best pickups, I think. Sneaky, only $3 to Deion Jackson, especially with JT's injury. Again, potential to be a league winner. The rich get richer. If JT goes down, Blaine flips Deion to a running back needy team like Nick for Garrett Wilson or Rondale Moore, and then that even further cements Blaine's team as the dominant force to be reckoned with. So Isaiah Likely, again, Mark Andrews insurance. He had a great game last week filling in for Andrews. Terrace Marshall, speculative ad. He's got great talent, but And then Matt Collins as well, and Dawson Knox. So, and Khalif Raymond. Khalif Raymond for 14. Woo! Anyway, let's go ahead here, get into a preview of this week's games. Start off with my game against Duncan. As it currently stands, we're both 3-5. I mean, it's a huge game. It's a huge game. If I had any speculation about what my roster is actually going to look like come Sunday, my starting lineup, then I probably would have made this game of the week. But as it stands, Duncan's projected to win 121-26. Justin Herbert's the only player I have in my lineup at the moment. Back-to-back weeks, I get to play a quarterback going against Detroit, so that's fun. Mixon's got a good matchup. Jacobs has a good matchup. So pretty good matchups across the board. So I don't have high hopes for my team. I really need if my roster stands as is and I don't make a trade this week, I'm losing this week. That's just a simple fact of the matter. So, but hey, stranger things have happened. Duncan's team could certainly go out there and shit all over themselves as they've done multiple times this season. And if I can just find a way to scrap to thanks, Ford. Your failings as a video recorder is why I can't bring myself to make a trade for the man made of glass on teams whose running backs are notoriously made of tissue paper. That was Ford's response to asking if he wanted CMC. So, safe to say, Rip, you're in a bidding war. I still need this. I just don't have much hope for my team. I really don't. I think it's going to be a 5-game losing streak. And despite the strong start, the 3-1 start, probably not making the playoffs. So if I win this game, maybe could turn the season around. But losing it's stick a fork in me. So I feel like Dan Campbell, man. We're so close, man. We're so close. I'm gutted for this team, man. I just wish you guys could see how close we are and the progress we're making because we're just so close. But yet here we are at a shitty 3-5. So at least we're not as bad as the Lions, who are 2-6. So or maybe worse than that. All right, next here we got the discount double check and Razorback Revival. Rip's projected to win this one 135-114. I mean, I think that Nick's going to run into some trouble this week with some of his matchups. Boy. Man, Nick, if only you could start 6 wide receivers, brother. Which you probably don't want to start Garrett Wilson this week, but yeah, Rip's going to win this one, regardless of what he does to his team. And even if he loses, he's 6-3. He's fine. So he's fine. It's going to be fine. He's got a huge lead in points for. This game doesn't matter to him. This game's huge for Nick. If Nick loses this game, stick a fork in him. He's done. So next here we got Swamp Donkeys versus Cooter Gain. Blank projected to win 133-107. No Saquon this week. Saquon's on bye. Probably no Keenan. It looks unlikely this week, so he's going to have to roll with Isaiah McKenzie again, which is a little scary because the Jets have a very good defense, but it's really those perimeter corners. I think they could be a little susceptible in the slot, which is where McKenzie is playing. But it doesn't matter. It's just too much talent, I think, for old JD to overcome there. Next here, we got Doesn't Contribute versus Cataclysmic Catches. Wilson's projected to win 105-102. A lot of low scoring projections this week. A lot. Palmer should be back. No Lamb this week. No Donovan Peoples-Jones. No Zeke. No Dulcich. No Eli Mitchell. Probably no Jahan Dotson. So his lineup pretty much is what it is. It's set. Now for Wilson, he has no Chubb, no Schultz, no Gallup. Gallup's not been good. Schultz is coming on. But, having no Chubb is tough. But Herbert is getting a lot more work. I don't know why you don't throw Miles Sanders in there at the running back instead of Herbert with him playing on Thursday, but to each their own. But I mean, Mahomes is probably going to carve up the Titans. They're going to blow them out. The Titans are good, but they've been playing bad teams. So I think Wilson's going to win that one. Put Craig on a little 2-game losing streak. Next here we got Shade Dynasty versus Fat Bastards. Another close one, 116 to 114. Well, Forts, if you don't want to play ball, I'm going to go with D-Shade in that one. So, all right, and then that brings us to our game of the week. Oh gosh, I'll have a cat here. The Kroger peanut butter filled pretzel game of the week. Kroger peanut butter filled pretzels. They are enlarged to show texture, so they're not actually that big, believe it or not. Nutrition facts, about 10 pretzels, about 140 calories, not too bad. You got your saturated fats, decent amount of sodium, from the salt, of course, but salt tastes good. It makes everything taste good. Not a ton of ingredients here, some wheat flour, peanut butter, of course, some salt, and then just some other little miscellaneous things. So, pretty no nonsense, not a lot here to go off of, but anyway, Kroger peanut butter filled pretzels, the official peanut butter nugget pretzel thing of the Bring That Wood Fantasy Football League. Cheers. It's quite the lid, though. Cheers. I'm going to put that lid on because I can't stop. Once you pop, you can't stop. I can sit here and eat all this whole thing. Chunky monkey. Coming for you. That is, if you lose to me, you really suck, versus Dirty Birds of War. Projected to be a barn burner, 106 to 106.4. Battle of the quarterback, you got Marcus Mariota versus Lamar Jackson on Monday night. Chargers defense is a little sus, and Saints have a very good defense, but you got to go with the talent of Lamar. I wouldn't hear the end of it if I picked Marcus Mariota over Lamar Jackson. Battle of the running backs, you got Jamal Williams and Damian Pierce versus Alvin Kamara and Tyler Algier. Not pretty ugly. I think I'm going to have to go with the overall talent of Kamara. Because I do think that, I think the Packers are about to have skull sex with the Lions. I think they're just going to absolutely eviscerate them. And even though the Green Bay's defense is not good, it could be a shootout, low key. It could be a very sneaky shootout, but I don't think that they're going to be running the ball much with Jamal. So we'll go with Plunk's running backs in that one. Battle of the wide receiver. Golly, this is ugly. Oh boy. You got Chris Olave, Devin Duvernay, and Gabe Davis versus DJ Moore, Eli Moore, and Allen Robinson. This game's going to come down. It's relying pretty heavily on Monday night. There's a lot of action Monday night in this matchup. I'll go with Savoy in that one. What the hell? That Plunk's wide receiver room makes mine look like Knicks. Battle of the tight end. You got Mark Andrews versus Hawkinson. New team for Hawkinson. Probably be a little slow getting him up to speed. We'll see about Andrews. If he doesn't play, he's got likely, so he'll probably be okay. But we'll probably go Plunk in that one. And then Battle of the Flex, new team, who dis for Nyheim Hines on Buffalo versus Zay Jones. Yuck. I don't believe in Zay Jones. I don't think he's very good. I don't know. Push. I don't like either one of them. All right, so that's it. Hogs are playing Liberty this week. Liberty's ranked. They're not ranked in the college football poll, but they're ranked in the AP poll at like 23. Who would have thought that the ranked matchup with them would have been them and not us before the season started? But they're 7-1. They're scrappy. We've handled good power or group of 5 schools already this season. FCS level schools, Missouri State, good team, handled them. Cincinnati, good team, handled them. I expect more of the same with Liberty. So Should be a shootout though. I think it'll be high scoring as most of our games are. Anyways, that's all I got this week, fellas. Stay tuned. Maybe don't hold your breath. Because you know who I'm dealing with on a potential trade, potential blockbuster trade. We'll see. There's a lot of owners who there's a lot of owners who would not be surprised if, knowing what they know from this video, if nothing were to happen, because it's kind of the expectation at this point. So, anyways, that's all I got this week, fellas. Good luck, everybody. Stay safe out there. And as always, woo pig.